Hello, and thank you for taking the time to learn more about the RapidRoc waterfall and outdoor living systems. The purpose of these short videos that hopefully you'll have the time to go through is to allow you to evaluate the opportunity further, get questions answered that you may already have, and we'll also have an opportunity for you to do due diligence and also talk to one of our RapidRoc coaches. But our systems allow our contractors and installers to install their projects in a third of the time at half the cost with 60 to 80% margins. So we're able to do things that in the past may have been pretty difficult to do with some of our new technology, and that's what we'll go through. So some of the challenges that most of us contractors face with our projects is definitely materials and labor, right? And both of those things, because of the current financial markets and the current political markets, um, worldwide, we may have challenges. And I think one of the things that our systems allow us to do is kind of break through those challenges. And the first is definitely the cost of materials with tariffs and other uncertainty that comes along with that. A lot of us have seen materials go up in price, but not just that the prices are going up in the materials, but also that we aren't able to access our materials as fast as we have in the past, or there might be some challenges with that. So we'll talk about that. And then, of course, labor, big part of what all of us do in our jobs and in our projects. So definitely have seen labor costs go up. And I think, again, that's not as concerning as the fact that most of us can't find consistent or reliable labor. That seems to be more of the challenge as we go through that. So we hear business owners are busy, and we're very happy to hear that. I obviously like that you're out there and you're continuing to do well with your business. But what we always ask is, are you profitable? Because you can work 60, 70, 80, 100 hours a week. But did you make more money than you did last week, last month, or last year? And unfortunately, when I ask that question, business owners answer me and contractors answer me that they're busier, they're running around, they're filling gaps. A lot of that has to do with the labor challenges we all have, but they're actually not making any more money and they don't feel like they're as profitable as they'd like to be. So we'll talk about efficiency and productivity and how our systems and our methods of building our exterior home improvements can be more efficient than, again, traditional methods like we've seen in the past. So let's focus on some really good news. The good news is for what we do, the projects that we build, the demand has never been higher than right now. So outdoor kitchen spaces and conversation areas and fire pits, backyard oasis, what we call backyard resort living, and poolside finishes like water features, slides, and grottos, and caves, and ponds. So not necessarily just swimming pools. We've seen a lot done with ponds and other types of environments that we can help people realize in their backyards or their outdoor spaces. So quick article on Forbes magazine. You may have seen this. This came out a couple of years ago. It was a national survey, so not just in the warmer areas, but also in the colder parts of the country and parts that have more seasonal and not a lot of warm weather. They did a national survey and they asked the homeowners out there what types of projects they were going to be doing in their backyard next. And a very high percentage of those people, well over 70%, said they were doing an outdoor kitchen or other outdoor projects, swimming pools, patios, decks, conversation areas, again, kitchen areas, and all those things. So let's just talk about the dream team here with RapidRoc. You probably couldn't find more highly touted or more famous water feature builders than Dave Montoya and Jerry Romero. Jerry Romero, for example, is responsible for building the water feature at the Mirage Hotel and has done most of the water features on the Vegas Strip, just to name, part of his resume. And Dave Montoya has done a lot of the national zoos out there, in Houston, Texas, and Atlanta, Georgia, and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and so forth and so on. And of course, with a lot of the residential projects out there going on. So you probably couldn't have a better team backing you and helping you build your business in waterfalls and also outdoor living environments. A couple of different offices around the country. We have headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia, and New Hampshire. We also have our facilities out in West Texas and Fort Worth where we make our molds and we do a lot of the other things that you're going to learn about as we go through, some of the informational videos here. We've been featured on I would consider most of the popular reality contractor shows out there, Pool Kings, Yard Crashes, multiple episodes of HGTV, and most recently on Zombie House Flipping. So wanted to talk about the products that we use and when we're building our system. So first would be the chemicals that we use to build the retaining walls. Then we have our boulder molds that we use to make our rocks and our caves and our grottos and our slides. And then we have our masonry molds that we use to make outdoor kitchens and fire features and do veneering and cladding. And then our flagship product, the amazing mix that we use to build all these things, is something that we'll spend time and go over in pretty good detail for you. So I think most of us have seen at this point retaining walls being constructed. A masonry skill is definitely going to be required. A lot of backyard disruption, a lot of the materials, the commodity materials that I was talking about before that can be challenging. And not only because they're going up in price, but also sometimes it may take some time to get those materials. So we're pouring and doing our formless concrete retaining wall system. We pour a gallon of our wall builder chemical for every yard of concrete. So you'd call in a grout mix, a 2 to 3 inch slump grout mix, no aggregate, say a 4,500 grout mix. You'll add a gallon of the wall builder for every yard of concrete. So if it's an 8-yard or 10-yard truck, you're going to add 8 gallons or 9 gallons or 10 gallons of the wall builder chemical right into the truck. Let that mix. And when that starts to come down the chute, several changes have happened in the properties of that concrete. So number one, it's emulsified and it's air entrained. So it allows it to kind of fluff up and almost stack straight up, as you can see in the picture, which is not normal behavior for a concrete, right? If this was a regular ready mix with aggregate that you got from your local concrete supplier in your hometown, this concrete would probably be down around these guys' boots, right? But because of our chemical, it's changed the properties of that concrete. And now not only will it be a lot stronger, it'll give you more working time, but allow you to do things again with concrete that would be pretty difficult to do it if you didn't have the availability of that chemical with that 2 to 3 inch slump concrete mix. So after we're able to stack it, we can take our trowels and shape it, and then we can carve it. So here's a couple of training classes where we're showing guys how to carve and make our walls look and feel like real stone. There's a finished project on the bottom right corner, kind of a small picture, and then, several, I think, important factors are worth noting here. Speed of the install, big part of our process and a big selling point when we're out there in the field competing, because not only is this a tremendous value to you, I mean, obviously doing things faster is great, but it's also an important value to your customer. Because remember, your customer is happy to have you come over and help them with their home improvement, whatever that might be, but they're also happy for you to leave, right? Especially people that are in a seasonal area. So we can typically do a 100-foot long wall, 4-foot high retaining wall in 8 hours in one day, pretty easily. Color theories, we have many different colors. Everybody has a little bit different color rock around the country, so we realize that. So we have rocks that will definitely be able to match that up with our colors. And we do a monolithic pour with our walls. So what that means is below grade, as we did about a 2.5-foot footing here, all the way to the top of the wall, all the way to the top of the steps, that is a one monolithic structure. So this, of course, will work really well as a retaining wall as it is all connected and gives us better strength. Let's compare apples to apples with a Technoblock wall versus our formless concrete wall. So if you were going to build a 150-foot long wall, 3.5-foot high retaining wall, and let's go through if you were using Technoblock versus, again, our formless concrete wall. So if you were building a Technoblock wall, you would need about $9,000 in block. You would need about, say, $1,200 in caps, about $400 in gravel. So you're about $10,500 in your materials. Now, if you had a masonry crew working at Mach speed, you could possibly get this done in 2 days. I think that would be a stretch, but for the sake of this presentation, you would need about $2,200. Maybe your labor's a little bit higher, maybe it's a little bit less in your area, but you'll be right around that area, about $12,800, let's say, to build that Technoblock wall. Now, enter the formless concrete walls that we do. You'll need about 26 yards of concrete. You'll need our wall builder chemicals, and then our rebar and our color. So your material costs about $7,500. Your labor is about $1,200. Again, we can typically do this in 1 day. Your costs around $7,500. So as you can see, there's a significant difference in the overall cost. So a lot of guys ask me, how big can we go, right? Because, kind of the locker room talk. Well, how big of walls can you build, right? Well, this was something that I thought I would show you. This is a bridge, obviously, something that we did in Peoria, Illinois. We did 2 of these, and we did some decorative things, right? Kind of dress it up. So let's talk about the mix. This is our proprietary DM-crete panel mix. It's a polymetric multi-fiber reinforced concrete rapid setting. So we're getting, in 1 hour time, we're getting 4,500 PSI. In 3 hours, we're 7,000 PSI. 28-day cure, you're between 10 to 12,000 PSI. So obviously very strong, but also very flexural. Our panels can do things like this, right? So we're 2,000 flexural, which is a very nice number. You may not find that even with all of, the high performance or even some of your fiber rich rapid setting, you probably won't find that type of flexural strength with this type of compressive strength. So we find our product is very unique. I haven't really seen any other mixes out there that can accomplish that. But our product needs to be very strong, but it also needs to be flexible. It needs to be able to take a punch, right? Because a lot of times what we're doing is standing our panels on its side. So this concludes the first module. Click on the next module to learn about our water features and how to build rocks and caves and grottos and slides. Just click the next video.